David took a woman after getting her pregnant, killed the husband. Now, God was angry on several. Number one, adultery. Number two, murder. Number three, reproach. You say, what is reproach? That man was killed by the children of Ammon. He allowed the enemy for his own selfish gain. He sold a man to the enemy territory. And don't forget, Moab and Ammon were two people that God got angry because they were a product of incest. When God sent judgment upon Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot left with his two daughters. Genesis chapter 19, left with his two daughters. And there were no men. And these girls were grown. No men. Sodom destroyed, Gomorrah destroyed. No men. They started looking at their father. Their father looked like a man. And they got him drunk. And if you read verse 37 and 38 of Genesis 19, one was called Moab, one was called Ammon. These two, because of how they came, they were... Now, let me explain to you. Lot was a part of Abraham. The covering that Lot had was because it was connected to Abraham. So even when they separated, there was still a covering on Lot. And these children were product... Lot's daughters were product of that covering. Lot's grandchildren were product of that covering. So they were like a bone on the throat of Israel. A bone. Don't forget, it was the king called Balak. Was the man in charge of Moab. He was the one who said to Balaam, come and curse Israel for me. Balaam tried everything. Israel could not be cursed. So Balaam now told Balak. He said, the only way to get these people, if you read Numbers 25, is to send women into their midst. And Israel began to commit sin with these women. It was so bad. So God remembered that it was Moab that exposed the vulnerability of Israel. So in Genesis chapter 25, you read from verse 1, 2, 3 down when you get back home. God now told Moses, he said, all the men that have gone into the children of Moab, hang their heads. Carry them out and hang them. So they brought them out and they hung them. If you read from verse 7, 8, 9, if you get home, there were 24,000 that died in one day. Hold on, let me tell you a story. Why they died, people were mourning. Because amongst those men were wives, were husbands, and they were sons. Why they were weeping at the door of the temple of the house of God. Over what they did with the daughters of Moab. A young man entered into the city of Moab and carried another woman. 24,000 just died. They were still trying to cry to God for mercy. The guy came and brought the lady. He didn't take her home. He brought her into the sanctuary of God. In other words, God, what you want to do, do. And he lay on top of her. People were crying. Phinehas ran, took a spear and a javelin in his hand, went to where the man laid on top of the woman and pierced them. As soon as God saw that, the plague stopped. So the way to stop sin is not confession, it's action. You can't be saying, Lord, I want to be free from sin. And that largest phone number is still in your phone. Pierce it. Delete it. You can't be saying, Lord, oh Lord, Father, Lord. And you are still staying in the same room, an apartment with somebody who has not paid your dowry.